did a ton of weddings. I probably have been to more weddings than anybody in the entire Northeast Kingdom, and never been a groom. Mike Barrett with us. Never been a groom, Mike.
Because you saw it with your own eyes a lot of times.
Oh, no, those were good days. I miss the money.
It's like my uncle always says, the 3 rings of marriage, the engagement ring, the wedding ring, and then followed by the suffer ring.
Oh, jeez.
Ba-dum-bum.
And Jen, that is not.
No, I'm happy.
Inclusive.
I'm lucky.
So Mike Barrett, Mike, this continues to be in the news, the flooding. Now, we're not beating a horse to the ground here, but, every morning, every day. Actually, this morning coming into work, I followed 2 contractor dump trucks, some great big ones. Big enough so that on the back it says construction vehicle do not follow. You know the ones I'm talking
I know,
about?
yeah. I follow them just to see where they're going.
Our state is still recovering from flooding and water damage. Now, we were spared. Everybody I've talked to said we were so fortunate on this side of the state.
Yeah.
But there are people that were impacted, okay? Roads washed out and everything. Even in our news this morning, local government and local officials are saying, file a claim, get the ball rolling, even if you're not covered. We talked about this last week.
We did. And, the thing of it is 2 things. That one, yesterday I had to travel through Montpelier, through Marshfield and Montpelier, to get to an event in Burlington that I had to attend. And I'll tell you, to see the devastation with my own eyes, my wife and I were driving through in just utter amazement of the damage and what had occurred. A bridge over by the Sharp Corner just ahead of getting to Plainfield, Vermont, that is partially just completely missing. To see the material that made its way onto the train trestle as you're getting to the traffic circle over by that Ford dealership. I mean, it was devastation over there, and it's easy. You're right. We were for all intents and purposes, we were spared. I mean, and that's not to say there's not people in our region, in our area, that haven't had issues, haven't had problems of their own. But in the grand sense of damage and just devastation, they got it. I saw FEMA boots on the ground yesterday as we're driving through. They had flags out to let people know where they were at. They have a motorhome they're driving around. So FEMA is here doing their thing, and that's a good thing. But, the slippery slope is that we're still seeing the inundations of rain. Just yesterday coming back from Burlington, once we got into Danville, the intense downpour that took place, we're still seeing some incredible rains coming through. I don't see an end to this. This is kind of the cyclical summer we're having.
Did you hear the forecast for today? A spotty shower or thunderstorm, mainly in the afternoon, yet again.
Yeah, my wife says if people say our water tables are low, she's going to slap them. Just this past weekend, I was coming back home late Friday night, and I saw some issues, and they ended up overnight getting a lot worse. But even in parts of Waterford, a section of Remick Road, part of Old County Road, I believe it was the north side of it, one washed out completely. The other one washed out a couple of people's driveways, material ending up in a person's garage from the road. So damage is still occurring.
Well, I saw the picture in the Caledonian Record of Carter Road up in the Berks.
Yeah.
It should be called Carter Canyon.
Yeah.
So where we're going with this, folks, and Mike, you alluded to this last week, even if you as a homeowner don't have flood coverage or as a renter don't have flood insurance, file the claim.
File a claim, get a denial, which you'll most likely get, and do the 211, Vermont 211, call FEMA. They did declare Caledonia. They added a couple of more counties to the disaster area for the state, which is going to be to the benefit of many. But, while it's all great that FEMA is here and there's emergency funds being allocated, boy, is that just not a thing that you want to have to go through if you can avoid it. So kind of a word of caution is that, many people think that flood is only if you're near a waterway. So near a stream, a river, a pond, a lake, whatever the case may be. Flood can happen anywhere. Now, remember, flood is just an inundation of surface water is the definition. But here's the kicker, is the FEMA, National Flood Insurance Program, definition of a flood is it has to have impacted 2 acres or more or 2 or more neighbors. So even if you get a ton of issue with water in your basement and things of that nature, if it hasn't impacted 2 acres or more, you're not really going to have coverage with the flood program through the federal government. The private flood insurance companies have a broader definition of flood that may work more in your favor. I guess the point we're making this morning is relying on federal assistance is not necessarily what we want to do, but we have no choice in the matter. But I think the dialogue should be ask ask what it would be to get flood insurance for you. I don't care if you're in a valley or on a hill. Water can come. I mean, where the roads washed out in Waterford, those were up the hill from my house, making me rethink my situation of really, should I not go with flood insurance or should I have it just in case?
You know, you you used the definition of a flood in most people's mind is something that happens near a brook, a stream, a lake, a pond, what have you, okay?
Yeah.
But you also mentioned basement flooding.
Yeah,
Okay, now most homeowners have their washer, their dryer,
certainly. Yeah.
maybe even a man cave, okay,
Yeah.
or a kid's toy room downstairs,
Yeah.
and it's flooded.
Yeah.
Okay, may not have damaged the lawn, may not have washed out the driveway, but you've lost some household appliances.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I can't think of a way that would be covered. There's only one example I can think of. On a homeowner policy, there is an endorsement available. It's not on everything. You have to choose it, where you can get backup of sewers and drains. Backup of sewers and drains coverage, you can have a limit of $5, $10, $25, $50,000. You choose it. And what that can do is if you have a house, especially the newer houses, right, Jeff? The newer houses have the ability they have the drainage around the house, whether it be the French drain or a drain inside. Or you have a basement that's prone to getting a little bit of water and you have a sump pump in there. So all of that, if you still end up with having water, maybe the sump pump failed, maybe the drainage got plugged and failed, you very well could have yourself a backup of sewers and drains claim on a regular homeowner or business policy, and that would certainly be worth calling it in.
My dad always told me, because his dad always told him, that we can go back, the stupidest question is the one you never ask.
Yeah.
So you've got to have that conversation, have that dialogue.
I recommend it strongly. The two biggest exclusions on most property policies that I want people to hear is flood and earthquake. Earthquake, you can typically just add it by endorsement to your homeowner or business owner's policy for a few $100s more a year. Flood, that's a different animal. There are very few companies that offer the ability to add flood to a property policy. You need a flood policy to have it. And I tell you, I mean, it's not fun. Certainly spending money, because we're all going to say, well, we're never going to get flooded until we do. And that's when we realize, oh my God, if I was paying $300, $400, $500, $600 a year for 10 years, and this $50,000 loss I have, it may bode in your favor to consider it. So just something to think about. I hate telling people to buy things that they don't really want, but it's about your comfort level and being able to, and especially now we're seeing places being impacted that we never thought would be impacted. So it's kind of changing my mindset a little bit, and I'm hoping it's changing yours as well.
Earthquake, okay?
Yeah.
Nobody ever thinks they happen here.
No.
I don't know if my landlord was able to take advantage of this or not, but it was like 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. We had that minor earthquake here. I think it was only like a 2.5 or something.
Sure.
But it ruptured the well.
Yep.
It ruptured the well, and they had to put in a new one because it filled with rust.
Yeah.
So you never know.
You never know. And that's what insurance is for. And it's for the unforeseen. And so, and remember, there are waiting periods for flood insurance. So if you are not getting a loan, you have a 30-day waiting period with the federal government. I have some carriers that I can do almost no waiting period with the private markets. So just have a dialogue. Talk about it. The best part about this entire thing is learning is my favorite word, free.
Yes. All right. Tell them how to learn with you.
Sure. Give us a call. Barrett Insurance at 748-5224. We're on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com. Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
Mike, always good to have you in here. Glad you're safe. And
Yes.
We'll do it again in a week.
We'll be here.
All right. Great music on the way. Wrong Mike Pod. Great music on the way from Abrina New Music, but first Adele and Magic 97.7.